Let me check the audio. Testing. Testing. All right, cool. So, what my game plan is for the day is to go ahead and glue up this cabinet box. I'm going to sand the doors. And I'm going to cut the joinery to have it wrap around these dividers. I'm going to leave the doors long. So I'm going to figure out how it's actually going to work out once I get the hinges and stuff installed before I cut it to the final length to where it's going to wrap around this cleanly. So first step is to take this apart. And because of the fail of the miter fold yesterday, trying to do it all at the same time, we're just going to do the top and the two sides taped together, fold that up, and then we're just going to drop in the bottom panel. And then I think I'm going to apply clamps at these dividers points, and then the tape and everything else should hold it together. And then I should be able to throw, clamps along the long dimensions. We'll see. Hopefully, shouldn't be an issue. That's the assembly plan. First up, though, let's take this apart. Let's bring this bench over so I can unfold it. Yeah, so because I can't do it all in one big fold like that on the actual glue up, there's no way to flip it. We're going to untape it. And what we're going to do is tape the two sides and the top panel, get those ready to fold and go together. And then we will assemble those two sides, dropping the bottom last. So let's flip this over and take all this tape off. I think the best way for me to do this, as far as the length of the bench and everything else that I'm working with, let's probably move you guys to a better location. Let me slide this one out the way for now until we get everything flipped over. We'll probably tape it together something like this. That way I'm ready to pull this down and fold it over. All right, so the first step is to get these lined up. So take yourself a stretch of tape. Then make sure they're flush from the front and the back. You can take yourself a piece of tape, attach it to one side, push to where they're both flush onto the table because your tables are flat. And then you can kind of put a little bit of tension into the tape by pulling as you spread it. One thing I can say is typically better to do this with like clear packing tape, just because it has more flex. This, if your miters are super sharp, they may actually tear or cut the tape as they fold. So definitely want to try to reinforce it a little bit. And again, packing tape just makes that a little bit easier. And unfortunately, these benches aren't perfectly in line with each other. This one on the left is still taller. So let's raise this up just a bit. There we go. That's better. Again, one of the benefits of having an adjustable height bench, you can get them leveled out with each other, because at first this piece was kicked up, so I had to push down before I can do my taping. So again, a few cranks with that handle down there, I'm able to raise this bench up and get it perfectly in line with this one, so I can be working with flat surfaces while I try to go through this miter folding process. Definitely cannot wait to get that one all the way up front. Can y'all see that one? That one all the way up front is currently cluttered. I cannot wait to get that one back in use, because that's typically the one that I do all my glue ups and work on. I typically try to keep my outfeed table clear so I can actually use my table saw. But currently, everything in the shop is in a little bit of disarray. We are finally organized again. Want to make sure everything is perfectly flush. And then bring your tape across. And again, put a little bit of tension on your tape as you pull it. All right, we're pretty much ready to flip this over. And I do want to do a little bit of tape protection on the inside, try to keep glue squeeze out from getting everywhere. So when I flip it over, I'm going to see if the tape will stick to the stain. If it won't, then I can't really protect anything. I shouldn't have too much to worry about as far as the glue either, because if the tape won't stick, the glue shouldn't stick either, which is also partially why I had went ahead and stained up the inside before the glue up. All right, let's get ready to fold this over. So what I want to do is start pulling her toward me, which is all going to be on camera. And which side do I want to be on? I think I want to be on this side. I'm going to pull her toward me, fold down. I'm going to keep coming. Try to keep this flat as long as possible. And then we're going to fold up. And then we're able to flip it over. All right. That works just like I perfectly planned it out to be. So we're good. Let's see if the tape will actually stick to this. Because if it will, I would like to throw some strips of tape pretty much right next to each one of these dados and on the inside of these miters to keep a bunch of glue squeeze out from getting on the inside. Because if it would stick, which I don't think it will because everything is stained, but just in case. Because I'm pretty lazy with like coming back behind stuff and wiping stuff off. So if I can make my job any easier, do it. And yeah, since the stain had time to cure, I guess the tape will stick to it. But I don't think glue would. But again, be rather safe than sorry. And then there's still that strip of mahogany that's actually in here that isn't stained. So glue would stick to that. So yeah. Just make my life easier and protect anything that glue can get on that you don't want glue to get on. So that way you're not in a super big rush to wipe everything down afterwards. All right, I just gotta tape that miter, the other miter, then I gotta tape up the dados on the top piece, and then we're ready to go ahead and fold this up and get this glued together. Trying to think how I want to do it and what will be the best ways as far as installing clamps. I actually think I probably should turn this bench sideways, that way I have some space in between so I can throw some vertical clamps on it to kind of lock in the dividers. And then I can kind of throw horizontal clamps on it, then I can lay it down. It's my idea anyway. All right. Then grab me a sip of water. We'll continue taping the stuff off, and we'll get into the glue up. And then we can start tackling the doors, which I think is going to be again, this whole project, I think the doors are going to be what's actually going to be what makes them cool or makes this build itself cool. But this whole entire build, again, being made from tons of just skinny scraps and stuff laying around the shop. I was debating on what I was going to do with this one. Originally, I was planning to give this to my dad, but because the panels ended up like half-inch thick, which I don't think is quite thick enough for like, I want to make my dad's thicker, so I'm going to make his out of actual walnut and stuff. But again, from reclaimed scraps from that door build, I think this is a pretty cool project, and how it's coming out has been pretty cool so far. I might actually either try to sell it, or I have somebody else in mind I might give it to. My other idea is I could try to give it to the person who I built the doors for, because all of his doors and everything else are ash. But this is stained, so probably won't matter. Probably won't. But I typically like to give my clients gifts when I build, whenever I do something for them. I think a TV entertainment stand would be a little too much as just a gift. Maybe one day I'll get that large. I do your bathroom and I build you a custom vanity every time like that. One day I would love to be able to do something like that, though. To give people those kind of custom options. Or just have that kind of free time to where I can build every client a gift that elaborate. Normally it's just a cutting board. Unfortunately, I feel like I might have to grab a roll of tape from out of my truck. I don't think this one's almost gone. I have like 2 more partial rolls laying around here somewhere. But I might have to actually go into the truck to get another roll of tape. We got 15 people in here. The chances that you guys are the same few people that saw the truck last time, we might take a trip outside just to show you guys the inside of the truck. And for those of you who are new watching the channel, if you guys are in the chat and you guys are new watchers, I'm Kevin. I'm a general contractor. Woodworking is kind of my passion. I've been blessed recently. I've gotten more woodworking jobs. I built a couple doors, beds, cabinets, and things of that nature to where my shop can actually contribute to my actual full-time income. Typically, I'm doing like kitchen remodels, cabinet installs, bathrooms, LVP, decks, and stuff like that. And again, occasionally I get blessed with like some really cool projects. Most of my stuff on my channel, though, so if you guys are getting new to the channel, most of the stuff that's on my channel is shop builds, because it's easier for me to record in here than when I'm on the job site doing the floor or kitchen or something like that. So most of my projects or most of my videos will be shop stuff, which is just normally me fooling around, or I might have a client that either wants something. In this case, originally my dad is a Falcons fan, so I wanted to build him a TV entertainment stand. I think actually the very first thing I ever built here was his very first TV stand I built for him like way back in the day. That was like maybe 5-6 years ago. I did some woodworking before then. I think I built like a bed and another TV stand before then, but I didn't have a shop here. I didn't have the box truck, which was set up as a mobile shop. So I didn't have half the tools, and we built it on our front porch up front. So I wanted to build him another one years later. Now that I took over his garage and turned it into a shop, I wanted to build him another one. And this was the concept that I'm going for, and I still like it. This material, again, I was just trying to reuse scraps in the shop, kind of not burn a bunch of material, but turn it into something usable. And all that milling process, I think the material is just too thin for what I want to make for him. I kind of want to make it a little bit taller. My dad has a large DVD collection, so I want to be able to store the DVDs in there. I'm going to show him this one. If he likes it, we'll either scale it up or down and make that work for him. But yeah, most of my projects are typically just me fooling around in the shop upgrades, tips, and stuff that I find to have either been helpful and generally just the process, I guess, from me going from not having a shop to having the shop that I have now. Like if you guys go back and watch my older videos, those were all shot like in my backyard on my very first workbench. I wouldn't recommend it though. I'm not the best videographer now, but back then the videos were a little rough. All right, this one is all taped up and ready to go. I just need to tape up the other panel, and then we'll probably run outside to the truck to grab some more tape. Also, one thing I did regret, again, this being made up from scraps and several strips. This mahogany strip, yeah, you guys can see it. This one, when they're both flush, doesn't line up with this one because, again, instead of having one long panel that I cut up to miter into this big rectangle, these are separate panels, all glued up from individual strips. And this mahogany strip was wider. This panel over here was wider. So when I glued everything together, all three of these line up. This one does not. So yeah, that's also why I'm not trying to give this one to my dad, because that is one mistake that I'm going to look at and not be happy with. We're making a TV stand. I can show you a quick test fold in just a second. This is the bottom panel. We have the sides. We have dividers that drop into these dados. And then we have our back panel kind of sitting over there off camera. So I'm just kind of taping up everything to prevent any extra glue from getting on anything that's already stained or getting on any of this raw mahogany that's in the middle. And if you haven't seen the other lives and the YouTube videos haven't came out yet, all of this is made from scraps. And then we have door panels over there behind the camera. The door panels were made. I recently built a bunch of doors. And when I built the doors, they were all made of ash. So this whole entire project is mainly ash with a little bit of mahogany scraps I had left over. But these panels for the doors are all made up of like, I don't know, 30, 40, like half-inch skinny strips. Again, instead of throwing them away, I kind of glued them back together to make a solid panel. But this is like a bunch of, again, really tiny strips. Oh, awesome. And literally, I just finished giving a rant about new people. Again, I'm a general contractor. Woodworking is my side passion. Recently, maybe within like the last 7-8 months, I've gotten more projects that delve more into woodworking. So like I've been able to build cabinets, doors for clients, bookshelves, tables. So I've been doing more in the shop projects for clients. Typically, my shop has been more for passion projects like this one. Okay, nice. See, I worked as a finished carpenter for probably about 8-9 years. And then I kind of went out on my own. So I kind of do my own work now. So I do like kitchen remodels, bathrooms, everything of that nature, decks and stuff like that. And again, the shop work is more of like what I get to do on the side. And occasionally, again, I get like a door build or a dining room table when I do a kitchen or something like that. So that's pretty much me. And this project here, my dad's a Falcons fan. I built him a TV stand. Actually was the first project. This is his garage that I've kind of taken over. Also, him being a Falcons fan is why I made those cabinets up there, black and red. These cabinets back here, black and red, because again, I still want him to come out here and like feel at home. So kind of taking over his shop. So I decided, again, years ago, before I was as good as I am now, I built him a TV stand. He has a really old DVD collection back when I was like, I don't know, since I was a kid. We have like at least like 900 DVDs sitting upstairs. And I wanted to build him a new TV stand. So I figured Falcons colors. I had a bunch of ash scraps laying around the shop. Like this right here is like, I don't know, tons of little 1.5-inch strips. You probably can't quite see the glue ups, but this is tons of 1.5-inch strips. These are going to end up being the doors. All the panels are like 7 or 8 different strips of ash glued together with a piece of mahogany in the middle. I stained all the ash black, and then you have the mahogany. Once I actually get the color on it, it'll be pretty close to red. But yeah, I mean, after doing all this though, and again, I was working with scraps. It's like the material, the strips that I was working with for the panels, they were roughly like some of them were 7/8, some of them were 3/4. So like I was hoping after all the glue ups, I can end up with at least 5/8, maybe a little bit thicker. This is like 7/16, and that's just too thin for what I want to give them. So I actually have a bunch of walnut slabs up there. So I'm going to make him another one. Probably use walnut and red cedar because I think it'll be redder than the mahogany. And it'll be easier. I can make a nicer product and make it a little bit thicker. So we're going to get this one done. And I'm either going to try to sell it, Facebook Marketplace or something. I might have a client or two that may be interested in it. But I also have a friend that I think will probably like it. And if not them, maybe the client that I built some doors for a client where all these scraps came from. Maybe he'll be interested in a free TV stand as a gift. I was gonna give him a cutting board. I'd imagine he'll probably like a TV stand more. So we'll see what I end up doing with it. But for now, this is just content, flexing muscles, and I have a really cool idea for these doors. When I drop the dividers in, what I want to do, because these dividers don't come all the way to the front of the cabinet, and I'm planning to use inset doors. So my idea is to take the door. It's going to sit flush to the front side of the cabinet, rest up against there. And then I want to cut a miter and kind of return the door itself around the divider. And now create a handle so you can kind of grab the actual door itself. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. The channel's been growing, I think, pretty fast this last, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 months. I think streaming's really been helping. So I've been trying to do these a little bit more. One, it gives me a chance to talk to people who are watching my content. And 2, I am not tech savvy, so my videos are a little meh. I'm working on getting better, but at least with the live streams, you guys can directly see the work I'm doing, ask questions, get to know me. Maybe I said something funny, which I probably won't do in my actual videos because I'm probably freaked out on the audio. All right. Yeah, I think these doors are going to come out pretty cool. And I like the concept. So when I built my dad's TV stand, I'm probably going to do the same thing. I don't have, a bunch of more skinny strips, but I'll probably just rip up some oak or walnut laying around the shop and kind of make a oak and walnut panel or something for the front of his doors. Also, I've never used, the Euro style hinges. Never built a cabinet without a face frame. So this is also going to be a little new to me because I don't know how to mount them or what kind of offset or margins they need around the side, or I have to look at them. So, I mean, these are just some Home Depot soft close Euro hinges. I have to open up and look at the instructions and see what kind of margins they have. Yes, I am. What's up? Hey, you good, Pop? Thank you. I'll put them up. So yeah, I'm gonna have to read the instructions on these Euro hinges because I am not quite sure. Yeah, not quite sure about how the margins and everything else need to work. These door panels are they're about 7/8 thick. I'm not sure if they have to be 3/4 or any of those things. I need to look into how these actually work. Yeah, I think the doors are going to be the focal point of this project. I think overall, that's going to be what makes it nice. And rather we get this glued up, we're going to delve into addressing the doors and getting the panel sanded. Huh? Yeah, inside the HVAC room. Inside the HVAC? Yeah, where the HVAC unit is. What are you talking about? It's inside the room in the attic, Pop. It's inside the room in the attic. Inside where? The room in the attic, the one on the left, where the HVAC is. Inside the attic, the room where the HVAC unit is. The room with the HVAC? Yeah, there's droppings right there. Right on top of the unit. What is it? Rats? Droppings? Don't know. You talking about some rat droppings or something? Greatly appreciate that. One thing I will say about all my videos, again, the further back you go, the the shoddier the editing is. I will say I've gotten better. I'm still working on getting better. But yeah, the further back you go in my content, the less appealing some of the videos are. I recently got the mic that I have now. Didn't always have this. So the audio was definitely a little worse back then too. I can show you. Yeah, an attic, where the HVAC unit is. in the attic where the HVAC unit is. The room on the side. Ooh, that's not straight. The one thing you do want to be careful of, well, I want to be careful of while doing this, is I'm putting tape down, but I don't want to get tape down into the joint, like where this back panel is going to slide, because once I slide that panel in, it'll be a pain in the ass to try to get the tape out of there. So either tear it, fold it back, whatever you want to do. Just make sure it's not down in any of the grooves or like on the ends of the miters, because if I end up folding up the miters and the tape is stuck in between the joint, again, pain in the butt to get it out. Oh, and there it goes. Gotta run to the truck for more tape. All right, let's go on the field trip, guys. Outside to the truck, and we'll grab another roll of tape. Again, for those of you guys who are new to the channel, I'm a general contractor. Ron Polk is actually the one that inspired me to do any YouTube channels, but he's also the inventor of the Smart Wood Shop. And before I had access to an actual wood shop, this box truck is how I did everything. It has bins around the exterior. It's where I store, my grab and go tools. Circular. I keep an extra circular saw inside, but I keep one outside, extra drill, batteries, my tool belt stored on the outside, air compressor, things I need to grab and deploy immediately to a job site. And then inside, not the most organized right now. Again, kind of threw a bunch of tools in the bag. But she is a complete, let me look at the camera because I can't quite see what you guys see. It's a complete mobile shop. We have modular bins up top, storage down in there, more cubbies throughout there, bank drawers running down the full length, miter saw. This miter saw lifts up and folds into the wall. When that folds up, I have a platform that I rest my table saw on. So I can use my table saw here over on this side as well. I have 8 foot 4 inches in feed right. Whenever I open the doors, I have unlimited capacity to the left, so I can pretty much rip and cut any 8 foot board inside the truck, and I can always flip it and cut longer boards coming out this way. Park style workbench that I take to the job sites, my generator, my flex table saw. I added a section of seats right here. The seats all lift up. They have more storage underneath. The backrest is actually held on with like sofa cleats, so it actually slots down. And you can actually lift it up and it fits across here to make a bed. And we're here for a roll of tape, which I knew I had one there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the little field trip and enjoyed the magic tool bus. Thought I had a skinnier roll of tape in there though. This one will do though. When I do the glue up, we probably can be right about there. So made it. All right, we're ready to fold this up and glue this together. Actually, let me bring some clamps over here. I was about to make a very crucial mistake, not having my clamps ready. This is 48 inches long, 50 inches long, 49 on the inside. And then I just need my 5-foot clamps. Yeah, I don't need any of the really big ones. Hey, how you doing? Getting ready for a glue up. I'm just trying to pull out all my clamps that I'm going to need. No, that's all right. I just want to have more than 3. All right. Let me grab my silicone brush and we can get started. All right. Let me drop in this back panel. Actually, dividers, then back panel. I forgot these are actually labeled. This is the top right. So if I'm looking at the cabinet, the right hand side, so this would be the left. And those holes line up. I actually forgot that those had an orientation, and I almost messed that up. All right, now the back panel. Let me grab the persuader to slide that over just a little bit. There we go. And where did I put the roll of tape? Gonna need that over here to help close everything up. I need to put some glue on this dado. All right, now I can fold her up. All right, now I'm just gonna tape that miter together, and I'll fold up this side, and then I can start applying clamps. I wish my band clamps were big enough for this glue up. Unfortunately, they're not. All right, close up this miter and get to throwing clamps on it. And then I can burnish the edges to make sure these miters come together and look crispy. Whew. Sorry if I haven't said much in a second, guys. Glue ups always get me a little stressed out, but I think we're actually looking pretty good. So at this point, the next thing I need to do is throw some clamps in the middle on those dividers. So I'm going to turn this bench and give myself a cavity to work with. I can move the camera around. Essentially, with that nice little open space, I can grab my clamps. Again, one of the major benefits of having adjustable height benches is you can make them match any work surface inside of the shop. And in my case, I can pretty much, this bench can be as long as I want it to be, because I have another one up front, the one that's currently covered. That one's also adjustable height. And if you guys don't know or didn't see, they use a car jack. That one over there has a car jack right there in the middle, which lifts up the whole entire tabletop. So again, between the three of these benches, pretty much have infinite capacity to build and do almost whatever. And again, I really wish my band clamps were large enough. That would have made this just a little bit easier. And I might end up taking these off because I want to put some long clamps on it. I could just put one down the middle, through here, and then one on the bottom. and then maybe one more going this way on the edges. That might be all I do. Oh no, I guess I can get two up here. The goal is just to not apply too much pressure and throw any of my miters out. I just want a little bit of clamping pressure on all these joints. And again, I love the shop setup that I have. It allows me such great access to projects like this. I can kind of get to any side, anywhere. Now, what I might do is actually take these off the back, fold these on its back, throw two clamps on the bottom, fold it back up, then put these on. And then I can put some on the edges. So what we want to do is lay this on its back. You guys still see? I'll draw back just a little bit more. And then we'll take these taller ones. And now I just need to flip this whole thing back over on top of these clamps. Oh. I didn't tighten that one enough. All right, tighten that clamp a little bit more. Apply the clamps to the back and on the ends. I think we're cooking with gas. Let me grab a couple more clamps to throw up there. Just if I have any small ones. All those would be too short. These are big and bulky, but yeah, I'm gonna have to switch these and put these ones on the outside. How you doing? Thank you for joining in. If you're just now getting here, we're currently gluing up a custom TV stand. With lots of clamps and all the awkwardness for you to enjoy. Yeah, my approach is very smooth, isn't it? Again, I have band clamps that I typically do for anything that's mitered, but my band clamps aren't large enough for this box. But again, because of my benches, I'm able to give myself a nice little gap so I can kind of work around it. And I'm using smaller clamps on the ends where where I have my pipe clamps, which props it up, gives the head enough clearance. I'm switching these other pipe clamps to the middle to give myself clearance because I have this big open space. Yeah, making it work with the space and the tools and the equipment that I have. And she's already miter folded together. I've already checked her. She's square. So the goal is just to kind of get it clamped up without tweaking her out of place. Which the miters will speak to me. They'll tell me if I'm doing too much. If I'm lucky, all the taping I did will make this cleanup nice and easy. Yeah, there's that. Clamp on this back corner right here. It looks like I need to tighten this blue one to pull that corner in some. Whew. All right. With a little bit of finagling, we have the cabinet box and clamps, quite a few clamps. We've taped up the inside to make the glue squeeze out very minimal. There's some spot right here back here in the corner. I'm going to go ahead and get that so that doesn't dry into a problem. And there's a few spots up top that I want to take care of. Like I see that right there. It kind of was sucked at the sand this because again, this is stained. This is going to be clear coated. So need to get all that glue off and make sure we're good to go all the way around. Then the next thing we're going to tackle will be my doors. See if I can give you guys a slightly better angle. Let me come back and clean up all the excess glue. And because, again, the panels are so thin, I'm thinking about how I want to reinforce everything. I probably will go with splines. I'll probably end up using my biscuit joiner to kind of plow on all the corners and then just throw in like a hardwood spline in there just to accent it, but also to reinforce that just a little bit. Because again, this is just going to hang on the wall from a French cleat. It would really suck if like one of the miters, fell because of the weight inside the cabinet or something. So I want to make sure everything is as strong as it can be, despite how thin the material is. If it was thicker, I'll probably go with like dowels as an accent. But again, with it only being half-inch material, I think splines will probably be the best way to go. Definitely an inspiration to get some larger band clamps, though. Well, I guess not even larger band clamps, but a longer. Yes, I don't know what that's made of. The ratchet strap material. Just get a longer length of it. need like a straw to get that. Thankfully, I have one. All right. Now I just need to let that dry. That'll be a confirmation about one of the next jobs. All right. That's all good to go. The next step is the fun part, which is sanding. Hope you guys heard the enthusiasm in my voice. For the most part, these tops came out pretty good. The original glue line that was there kind of took my block plane and just shaved it down. So now they just need to be hit with a sander, probably about 80 grit and go up to 120 or 100. I don't think I have 80 back here. I think I only have 100. Oh, nope, I do have 80. I was about to actually sand them all the way up. Then I decided that doesn't actually make any sense. So I still need to actually miter and glue them up one more time. So that's 8 inches to the shelf peg. I'm trying to think how much I want the actual door to wrap around the face of this. And I'm thinking 1.5 inches. So that'll be a comfortable wall. Then there's going to be a shelf here that I want to make sure you have enough room for your fingers. So I want to say it's at least, it's like 1/2 inch, so call it 1 inch. We'll go 1.25 inches. The doors will wrap around the face of this by 1.25 inches. So what that means is I need to actually cut these at a 45-degree bevel. Well, square cut it, then 45-degree bevel it. And I think these are too wide for my miter saw. 16. The miter saw caps out at max like 15 and a half. How tall do they need to actually be? Because I probably could rip them, then cut them. They need to be like 15 and 5/8 tops. So I could go to 15. Because 15 and 5/8 is tight on this box, on the cabinet box itself. That's 15 and 11. I'm 15 and 3/4. 15 and 11. These clamps are just too tight. Probably. So this is pulled this in by 16th. It's 15 and 3, then like 15 and 11 as we get toward the middle, and like 15 and 5 in here. So we'll say we'll plan for an 1/8 inch margin all the way around. 15 and 3/4 minus a quarter is 15 and a half. And the margin will just get a little bit tighter as we close. And I might rip it to make it a little bit more than an 1/8 inch as we continue. So let's go rip these to 15 and a half first. And then I should be able to cut them on my miter saw. We'll bevel them on the miter saw. And then we can do this final glue up. And the goal here is because like this one has the right hand door. Probably easy to show you guys what this is. So we have right hand and left hand door. The doors aren't going to meet because there's a section in the middle, you know, the open cavity inside the cabinet. But the grain, and again, if you guys don't remember, all these are several tiny strips like that right there where that knot is. There's a seam there and there, and that's another strip. That's another strip. So these are just individual strips glued up. Again, a whole bunch of scraps that are re-glued to make up these doors. So I think it'll look really nice though if it looks like the grain is continuous going all the way across. So we're gonna rip it 15 and a half, and we're gonna rip from this edge because again, this is where it lines up the most. I think as we get down here, well, it actually kind of lines up pretty well all the way down. Yeah, we're gonna go 15 and a half. Then we can cut the miters on the miter saw, and then we can do that final glue up, and that'll probably be where we call it for the day. Let's switch back over there. And then tomorrow I will be probably messing with the hinges or opening up the hinges and seeing what kind of specs and stuff, what kind of margins and how all that works. And then I can get those drilled out and installed. All right. Now off to the overly cluttered miter saw. All right, so important things to remember. This is going to be the right-hand door. So the first thing I need to do is actually get a square cut on it going all the way down. After I get that taken care of, then I need to bevel the saw over. And then I need to cut a bevel coming inward. And so I'm going for 1.25 inches. This is 7/8 thick. So the measurement from the end to the long point of the miter would need to be 2 1/8 math. So essentially I just need to cut a piece off of this that is 2 1/8 inch with a bevel. Then I need to cut an opposing bevel coming back this way to try to keep the grain wrapping continuously all the way around. So my next 45 coming back on the other, you guys will see that miter saw. What's the best angle for you guys though, so I'm not blocking it? Let's see, this is right door, bottom, and that's the face. Just barely too long. I don't know if this is going to be able to bevel and cut this. Because, yeah, you can't lift up on a bevel cut. A little sketchy on the table saw, but that might be what I have to do. I had actually planned to originally make a crosscut sled that allowed me to cut 45s, but I ended up making the original crosscut sled too small. So I could bevel the piece over, bevel the blade over, and miter gauge it through. I could rip the doors just a little bit smaller and just have a larger margin all the way around, which something tells me they're probably going to get a little bit smaller than they are right now, which probably would give it just enough to be cut on the miter saw. But I don't want to undercut them right now. My goal is really just to get them glued together, or get the miters glued. Question is, can this come out far enough? Yeah, it can. So bevel it over to 45. It might be the best way to do it. Cut the first 45. That's the top. This is the front. That's the bottom. And I said 2 1/8. Let's see, I can bevel the blade over, set up a stop block on the fence, cut one piece, then cut the other. That way, at least my returns are both the same size. So yeah, definitely want to use a stop block on the fence. I just need to figure out what setting gives me 2 1/8. So let me go ahead and bevel the saw over to 45 first. If you guys never use one of these, this is a Wixie digital angle finder. It's one of the best ways to bevel your saw or find angles really in general. And I guess realistically, I don't even need to nail that 2 1/8. It can really be longer, and I can always rip it again later. Be a little sketchier to do so, but I'd rather be a little bit longer than too short. So we're going to set up a stop block to cut that. Let's get the saw to 45. 45. Lock her down. Go ahead and lower the blade some. Take this off. I need a small piece of scraps. That's a little piece of walnut will do. This is good enough. Again, my goal is to make sure it's longer. I'll come back and trim it later. So we'll go with that setting. Then we'll cut both of them. Thank God the miter gauge can handle cuts of that capacity. All right. So this piece has now been cut off. This is the right side, the bottom of the right side. So the door's going to miter and come this way. So now I need to cut an opposing miter coming right from the very edge of this. So I guess the best way for me to do that, actually I'll do that afterwards. Let me label this right door bottom. I'll keep that in track. And then essentially I need to flip this side over. Because yeah, this is the bottom. And I need the miter coming back this way. So I need to flip this over and set this up to where it's just cutting right at that heel. Probably won't need to move. Well, I won't need to move the fence for this one. This will just be me eyeballing it till I get it where I want her. And actually, it doesn't even have to. Well, it doesn't have to be right at that heel. The whole point of me trying to get it right there, though, is to keep the grain matching, going all the way around. Again, this miter wrap door. Because if I come back like 3 inches, the boards themselves, like right where this got cut at. Because right now, right at the heel is right at the edge of where this got cut at, minus the curve of the blade. So if I can get my other 45 coming back right on the edge, the grain will look the most natural as it wraps around. Not the biggest deal, but if you can aim for it, you know, why not? And now what we get is a pretty 45. So when you come and grab the door, you have a handle. So I wrap around the divider. I get it cut to the proper length later. With that will be the glue up. And you guys can see how the grain wraps around that corner. It's going to look real nice. And then if I need to rip it again or whatever else, I can later. Now to do the same for the left door. There was a slight hiccup though. I felt it bounce a little bit on the miter gauge. I think I'm gonna try to hit that angle one more time. Again, I need to make a crosscut sled. But now that I actually have a mark on my miter gauge, I can bring it right to that edge. And just give her a little trim. The most annoying part is that I feel it. It's just that the miter gauge is being pulled out too far. I could try my track saw. Because that gap is going to irritate me. No, I probably should have done this with the tracks. That'll probably be the best way to cut this. But we're already set up to do it this way. We're gonna continue. All right. Now left door. I'm gonna cut it square on the miter saw just to avoid having to change the blade angle. So you gotta make sure I got the right orientation. All right, yeah, these are ready to get glued together. All right, tape and miter for round 2. I think these are gonna look really good inside the cabinet. But after these get glued up, again, once I figure out the hinges, I can actually cut this last side, to the actual length to fit inside the cabinet boxes. I think that these are gonna look really good. Now, I haven't really thought too much on how to clamp it. But I'm almost thinking I can probably just clamp it up right like this. Or fold it over and let the weight, kind of do its thing like that. Or I can throw another, actually, all I'll probably do is probably just throw another piece of tape on it. Bring another piece from here down to here just to close it up real tight. Now you rinse off this glue brush. Oh, so much of this is going to be a short stream. I still end up going 2.5 hours. Well, it's going to be about 2.5 hours when I finish. But got a lot done. Tomorrow, the only thing that's really left is staining the outside, figuring out how to install the doors, milling all the shelves, which, if you guys don't know, is that whole stack of ash on top of my crosscut sled. So we have a plan. But yeah, I think this is going to overall come out pretty good. I think I'm going to like it. And I like the concept. It's really these doors. I like these doors a lot. The idea of the handle being integrated, just continuous grain going all the way around. I like that. That stretch nice and tight, and essentially I'll let gravity do the actual holding down and clamping place. But again, by taping it this way, you essentially create a spring. There's already or a hinge. The tension is already built up in the tape before you close it. It's not a lot of clamping pressure. But once you start stretching the tape like I am right now, like if y'all saw earlier, it just kept wanting to fold back open. Can't do that now because the tape is holding it under tension. I do need to clean that up before that glue squeeze out becomes a problem for me later. I am notoriously bad at picking or getting this stuff up before I end up scraping and sanding in very uncomfortable places later. If you guys were here doing that door build project that I just did, I think that's where I learned my lesson because it sucks cleaning glue out of crevices. If you can get it beforehand, I highly recommend taking the time to clean it up. Because nothing's worse than going through the painstaking process of building something and then not being happy at the finish because there's glue squeeze out or scraping, stuff that you don't want to do. So I'll say keep building fun. Don't make more work for yourself later. So that's a surefire way to make you start a bunch of projects but then never finish them. Trust me, when I first started, I had so many things that I started, but then after I realized how am I going to sand this? How is this going to get finished? Stopped me from finishing a lot of my earlier projects. So, if I can, I would like to try to help you guys avoid that same fate. Now, essentially, I'm just going to probably could actually leave it resting like this. If I wanted to, I can bring it to the edge of my bench and throw a clamp going vertically down on the miter. But actually, I think this is enough. So I'm probably just going to set this off to the side and maybe throw just a little bit of weight on it. But which side is the bottom? This side is the bottom. So this will be my left-hand door. You'll come and grab it from this side here. and swing it open. And I'll probably route in like a cove detail or something in here to give your finger something to grab into. But I think overall, this is going to be a really nice door. All right, last one. And then I have a couple stops and errands to make to take care of. All right. Oh, pull that too tight. All right. And the last pro tip I can give you guys for miter folding stuff is to take something round like a chisel. Here's my chisels. Chisel, screwdriver, whatever you have on hand has a rounded edge on it. And you want to burnish your edge. This just compresses the wood fibers and makes that miter look like the actual wood fibers and everything else screwed together. And then when I take this off and sand it, you guys won't even know. Well, you know, I didn't just bend wood at 90 degrees, so you guys will know they got cut and glued, but it'll look like it grew together. I meant to actually burnish the edges on the actual TV stand, but the amount of clamps and stuff I had to put on it, I wouldn't really get the chance to. All right. I think that's all I really have to tackle for the day. It's not really much else I could do. That one I will throw a clamp on. That might have been close to the side as I want. But overall, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the stream today. Hope you guys picked up and or learned something or just enjoyed. If you did, definitely smash that like button. Leave me a comment down below. Subscribe to my channel. I also have a TikTok, an Instagram, and a Facebook, all under New World Carpentry, where I build stuff like this all the time. So definitely smash that like button. Leave me a subscribe. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Peace.